4 and 5 and...
More than 40 years have passed since the day Growing Pains first welcomed the Seaver family into American homes, and the show still carries that warm, comforting sense of complete safety that viewers cherished back then. A psychiatrist father who always had the right answer, a mother finally ready to chase her own dreams, and kids whose biggest mistakes could be fixed by the end of the episode. That was the silent promise the series made to its audience, and they stayed with it for all 7 seasons. But the actors themselves, who walked through that front door week after week, lived a completely different reality, one without scripts, without commercial breaks, and without any guarantee of a happy ending. What happened to them after the final credits rolled is a story of love that stood the test of time, and love that didn't, of private battles the cameras never captured, of surprising transformations that shocked everyone who thought they knew these people, and of deaths that came far too soon. In this list there is at least one name that will make you catch your breath the moment you hear it. Get comfortable. This story asks for your full attention. Number 1. Alan Thicke as Dr. Jason Seaver, the calm center of the household, the television father who knew how to listen, reason, and always find the right words at the kitchen table, even though real fathers like him were rare in everyday America. When the show premiered in September of 1985, Thicke was 38 years old. He played Jason Seaver in all 166 episodes across 7 seasons. His Golden Globe nomination in 1988 was simply official confirmation of what audiences had felt from the start. He made the emotional heart of the show genuinely believable. In 2026, he would have turned 79. After Growing Pains ended in 1992, he kept working steadily, guest roles, his own reality series, Unusually Thick in 2014 to 2015, and an appearance in the pilot of NBC's This Is Us in October of 2016, filmed just 8 weeks before his death. In addition to acting, Thicke composed the theme songs for Different Strokes and The Facts of Life, 2 of the most recognizable melodies of an entire television era. Yet he received almost no public credit for them during his lifetime. He created music that millions of people would hum for decades, without ever knowing whose name was behind the notes. Alan Thicke was married 3 times. His first marriage to actress and singer Gloria Loring lasted from 1970 to 1984, and gave him 2 sons, Brennan and Robin, the latter of whom later became one of the most recognizable voices in global pop music. His second marriage to Miss World 1990, Gina Marie Tolleson, lasted 3 years in the mid-1990s. The third, to Argentine actress Tania Kalau, began in 2005 and ended only with his passing. Viewers had no idea about the hidden vulnerability behind his calm, confident image. He looked perfectly healthy, continued playing hockey regularly into his late 60s, and gave no sign that the wall of his main artery had been quietly weakening for a long time. Alan Thicke passed away on December 13, 2016, at the age of 69. The cause was a rupture of the aorta, a type A aortic dissection, the same catastrophic event that had taken John Ritter's life 13 years earlier. It happened while he was playing hockey with his youngest son Carter at a rink in Burbank. Witnesses said he was still joking with his son even as the paramedics arrived. He never made it to the hospital. Dr. Jason Seaver was the father who always made room at the table, and Alan Thicke proved that such men really exist, and that losing one so suddenly leaves a grief that can never be fully healed. Number 2, Joanna Kerns as Maggie Seaver, the woman who showed an entire generation of girls what a mother could look like when she wanted to live her own life and saw no need to apologize for it. Kerns was 32 when the series premiered. She had competed in the 1968 Olympic gymnastics trials, trained professionally as a dancer, studied under Lee Strasberg, and spent nearly 10 years grinding through guest spots before finally landing the role of Maggie. Her chemistry with Alan Thicke at the audition was instant. An accidental kiss on the nose made the producers laugh, and everything clicked. She earned every one of those 7 seasons. In 2026, Joanna Kerns is 73, and she has built a second career that matches the first in importance. After Growing Pains ended in 1992, she directed one episode of the show in its final season and realized directing was her true calling. Since then, she has directed episodes of Grey's Anatomy, This Is Us, Pretty Little Liars, Scrubs, E-Ear, Dawson's Creek, Fuller House, and many others, becoming one of the most in-demand female television directors in an industry that has historically been reluctant to let women behind the camera. In 1976, she married commercial producer Richard Kerns. The marriage lasted 9 years and gave them a daughter, Ashley Cooper. In 1994, she married again to architect Mark Appleton. After 25 years together, Kerns filed for divorce in August of 2019. In November of 2016, the same month Alan Thicke died, she was diagnosed with breast cancer after a routine checkup. She deliberately chose a double mastectomy in December instead of multiple lumpectomies, and later received a clean result. Joanna spoke openly about the experience, emphasizing that it was her conscious decision, not a defeat. In 2024, she publicly admitted that in 2003, she had written a character reference letter for a Growing Pains crew member who was later convicted of sexually abusing a minor. She explained that at the time she had been misled about the facts and would never have written it had she known the truth. Maggie Seaver was the mother who came back to herself, and Joanna Kerns remained a woman who continues to reinvent herself, one episode at a time. Number 3. Kirk Cameron as Mike Seaver, the charming and evasive older brother who could turn any mistake into a witty joke and always managed to come out unscathed. Cameron was just 14 when filming began in 1985. By age 16, he was earning $50,000 a week and appearing on the covers of Teen Beat and Tiger Beat. He received 2 Golden Globe nominations and embodied that effortless type of teenage cool. In 2026, he is 55 and still recognizable, though very different. Around age 17, at the height of his fame, he fully converted to evangelical Christianity, and the change transformed his entire life. By the final seasons, he was refusing scenes he found morally unacceptable and openly criticizing the producers. After Growing Pains, he briefly starred in the WB sitcom Kirk, then almost entirely redirected his career toward faith. The 2008 Christian drama Fireproof, made for just $500,000, grossed over $33 million at the box office. He co-founded the ministry The Way of the Master with evangelist Ray Comfort, and has spent the past 2 decades leading marriage conferences and producing faith-based documentaries. He met his wife, actress Chelsea Noble, on the set of Growing Pains. She played Mike's girlfriend in the later seasons. They married on July 20th, 1991, and have been together for more than 30 years. They have 6 children, 4 adopted and 2 biological. Cameron has made his faith-centered family the central theme of everything he shares with the world. What most viewers never knew is that his conversion had serious consequences for one person on the set, consequences that followed that person for many years. That story comes in the next entry. Mike Seaver was the guy who could charm his way out of any trouble, but Kirk Cameron grew into a man who decided there was only one authority worth pleasing. Number 4. Tracey Gold as Carol Seaver, the diligent middle child for whom intelligence was both a superpower and a heavy burden, and who desperately wanted to be taken seriously. Gold was 16 when the series launched in 1985. She appeared in all 166 episodes without missing a single one, and became the emotional anchor for the Seaver siblings, the one who always showed up, studied hard, and tried to do everything right. In 2026, Tracey Gold is 56, and her real life bears almost no resemblance to the perfect Carol. After the show ended, she continued to work steadily in television movies throughout the 1990s and 2000s, including the 1994 film about anorexia, For the Love of Nancy. On October 8, 1994, she married Robbie Marshall. They were introduced by Joanna Kerns. They have 4 sons. In 2003, Gold published the memoir Room to Grow about her eating disorder. By the final season of Growing Pains in 1991, She was already suffering from severe anorexia. Her weight had dropped to nearly 80 pounds. The writers repeatedly inserted jokes about Carol's weight, and those jokes, once aired, only made the illness worse. She was suspended from filming because of her appearance, and her absence was explained in the storyline as Carol studying abroad in London. The disease had started in childhood, but years on television intensified it dramatically, and no one stopped to ask what was really happening. On September 3, 2004, while driving home from a Labor Day barbecue with her husband and 3 young children, Gold lost control of her SUV on California Route 118. The vehicle rolled down an embankment. Her oldest son, Sage, age 7, suffered a broken collarbone and a head injury. Tracey was arrested for felony DUI, pleaded guilty in 2005, and received 3 years of probation. She has spoken publicly about the incident many times with the same honesty she brought to her discussions of anorexia. Carol Seaver was the one who always got everything right, while Tracey Gold showed how much more honest it is to live imperfectly but authentically. Number 5. Jeremy Miller as Ben Seaver, the little brother and instigator who followed Mike into every adventure and then ran away faster than anyone else. Miller was 8 years old when the show premiered in the fall of 1985. He literally grew up on the set, appeared in all 7 seasons and both reunion movies. By 1992, the camera had become almost his only reality for nearly a decade. In 2026, Jeremy Miller is 49. He has been sober for years and speaks openly about how much the post-fame years cost him. After growing pains, he briefly attended the University of Southern California, then fell in love with cooking, trained at Le Cordon Bleu, and opened his own catering company, no small affair. The business collapsed during the 2008 financial crisis. In April of 2014, while working as a spokesperson for a rehabilitation organization, he publicly revealed that he had his first drink at age 4, and that after the show ended, his hidden addiction became a total collapse. He described blacking out for entire days, punching holes in walls, and terrifying his stepsons. The lowest point for him was his DUI arrest, not because he was caught, but because he had driven drunk many times before and gotten away with it. On the verge of homelessness, Miller made 2 phone calls, one to Alan Thicke, who helped him find restaurant work, and one to Kirk Cameron, who also stepped in. Both men responded. He has been in stable recovery since 2011. He is now married to Joni Miller. According to him, the alcoholism caused real damage to their relationship and especially frightened his stepsons. He speaks about those physical confrontations without softening the truth. It is part of taking responsibility. His 3 stepsons and his current relationship with them became the main reason he chose sobriety and has stayed with it. Ben Seaver was the kid who caused trouble and always got away with it, but Jeremy Miller became the man who stopped running from the consequences of his actions. Number 6. Ashley Johnson as Chrissy Seaver, the baby of the family, the little blonde girl everyone gathered around to protect, the one whose presence made everyone's heart soften. Ashley joined Growing Pains in 1990 at age 7 for the 6th and 7th seasons. She was acting alongside adults who had already worked together for 5 years, and by all accounts, including her own, she thrived. She always speaks with special warmth about Alan Thicke, calling him the best television father a child actor could ever have. In 2026, Ashley Johnson is 42. She has built one of the most distinctive careers of anyone from the cast. She appeared in What Women Want 2000, The Help 2011, The Avengers 2012, and starred for 5 seasons as the lead in NBC's Blind Spot 2015 to 2020. As a voice actress, she gave life to Gretchen in Recess, Tara in Teen Titans, and many beloved characters in animation and video games. Her voice and motion capture performance as Ellie in The Last of Us and its 2020 sequel earned her 2 BAFTA awards and changed how the industry views emotional storytelling in games. Since 2015, she has been a founding member of Critical Role, the Dungeons & Dragons streaming series that grew into a full creative empire, and she now serves as president of the Critical Role Foundation. For a long time, Ashley was in a relationship with fellow Critical Role cast member Brian W. Foster. Their partnership was open and beloved by the community. In May of 2023, she filed for a restraining order against him. Court documents described a sustained pattern of physical and verbal abuse. Later, 6 more women joined the civil lawsuit with similar allegations. She chose to speak about it publicly. Chrissy Seaver was the one everyone instinctively wanted to protect, and Ashley Johnson grew into a woman who made it clear she is fully capable of protecting herself. Number 7. Leonardo DiCaprio as Luke Brower, the homeless teenager who moved into the Seaver home in the final season, the stray who somehow brought the show back to life. DiCaprio was 16 when he joined in the fall of 1991 for the 7th and final season. Before that, he had only a small role in Critters 3. It was in the Seavers' living room that mainstream America first saw his face. Joanna Kerns later described the young DiCaprio as especially intelligent and disarming for his age. He was written out of the last episodes not because of any failure, but because the film, This Boy's Life, needed him. In 2026, Leonardo DiCaprio is 51, and he became far more than anyone could have imagined when he was filming a regular family sitcom. This Boy's Life, 1993, led to What's Eating Gilbert Grape, then to his first Oscar nomination at age 19. Titanic, 1997, made him the most photographed man on the planet. 5 Oscar nominations followed: The Aviator, Blood Diamond, The Wolf of Wall Street, The Revenant, and he finally won the statue in 2016. At the same time, he built a parallel career as one of Hollywood's most prominent climate activists through his foundation and several documentaries. DiCaprio has never married. He has had several long-term relationships with well-known women, each one turning into a major media event. When asked, he says his work and environmental advocacy are the organizing forces of his adult life. He has kept the same close friendships for 30 years. His warmest long-term relationship is with his father, George DiCaprio, who stood by him at every stage of his career. The strangest part is that the biggest movie star of his generation learned how to hold a scene in the living room of an ordinary family on a show that was already in its final season. Luke's role was created partly to save the ratings. It didn't save the ratings, but it saved something far more important. Luke Brower was the stray who found a family, and Leonardo DiCaprio became living proof that sometimes the greatest talent walks through the most ordinary doors.